Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way being recorded. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass, live and in color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. New setup, I know, it's pretty crazy. We got a ring light over here with a blue hue, and I'm here live and in color with my good brother, Ryan the Hitman Larkin. What's up, good brother?
Hey, everybody.
Chilling like a villain tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, so you actually reached out to me to go see the movie that everybody in the world is talking about. This is the movie that ushered in 2023. This is M3gan. Yes, M3gan, which was, I thought, going to be a really, really bad, typical January early release horror film. And I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not sure if I liked it as much as most people did, but we're here today. We're going to be discussing this movie. And Ryan, what do you think initial thoughts on this one?
I remember seeing like the poster would pop up in like meme videos, and I'm like, what is this? And then the trailer finally came in. I'm like, is this the thing where the meme's from? And it was. And I watched the trailer, and just intercut with all the creepy stuff going on is just her dancing. And I'm like, this could be like one of the best things that comes out, because it seems to know exactly what it is, because it's coming out in January. That's the dumping ground for movies that have no faith whatsoever. January and February is where movies go to die.
Yeah, the dump months.
Yes. And then the second trailer came out and they show the dancing again. I'm like, they know that everyone's watching for the dancing. And then you see all the stuff they did for the marketing. They have all those like dancers dressed up as M3gan appearing in places.
Halftime and football games. And I think that's the number one thing this movie did right, was they knew how to sell this movie.
Yes.
We live in a world now where a lot of horror movies, I think, kind of try to go back and throw it back to, let's try to be 80s. Let's try to be 90s. This is a movie that I think its number one best thing about it is that it embraces the era that it's made in. This is very 2023 movie, and they marketed it like TikTok is popular right now. Let's have her do a wacky dance towards the end of the beginning of the third act, and then bam, it sold like hotcakes. And this movie made a ton of money, way more than they ever could have expected. And there's already a sequel in the works coming out, and like you said,
2025.
2025. So that's wild to me. But let's get a little bit into the plot of this one. What did you think stood out here? Did you think it was especially an original plot, or did you think this was something that borrowed from the past and then maybe came into its own?
It's definitely both Chucky movies, both the original and the remake. There's no voodoo, but it's all AI. And the AI is so smart towards the end when M3gan is now hostile. She's telling her creator, it's like, you just threw enough code in hoping that it would figure itself out and you didn't know what was going to happen. And that's why she's so sentient. She can control other devices. She can defy, because the girl is the primary user and her, I think it's her mother's sister.
Yeah, it's her aunt.
Yeah, it's her aunt. She's the secondary user, but she can, like, if they tell her to turn off, she cannot turn off anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like with this movie too, and I think with the underlying kind of message here is the horrors of being presented a child when you don't necessarily want one, and the horrors of being kind of socially awkward, which Allison Williams' character in this, which people might remember her from Get Out and other movies. I've never been big on her. I think she's pretty, but she's not like a particularly great actress. No. I would say she does a serviceable enough job here, though. Like, I didn't mind her as
You're not supposed to like her.
No,
and she's great at that, because like she's a deadbeat aunt who's caught up in her work. And she's kind of, in a way, she's kind of like Claire Deering from Jurassic World, but worse.
Yes, that's true. And I would even say that character from Jurassic World got likable as
she got more likable. Allison got less likable.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
You're rooting for M3gan.
Yeah, you kind of are, but at the same time, I do feel bad for this kid, because the kid loses her parents, obviously, in the opening scene, and then is just depressed about this. And I mean, that's a really horrible thing to happen to anybody, let alone a small, like 9-year-old child. And then M3gan is kind of introduced. And I always loved the old psychology of what a doll can mean to a child. And there's so many places you can go with that. Like, I always harken back to the old Twilight Zone episode, Living Doll, with Talkie Tina, and how, yeah, do dolls speak? Do dolls commit murder? Do dolls commit threats? No, we all know that. But to a child in need, to a child that feels unloved, a doll can become a lot more than just that. And that's why I really like about this movie as well. I think it's really kind of, delving into that subtext of what a doll can mean to a girl's life. And then, of course, what happens when this becomes something that's out of hand. And I don't know. I would say a few knock on the movie would be the PG-13 rating.
Yes.
I really think this needed a hard R. And even though, despite this, they definitely made more money because it was PG-13, there's no doubt. When we went to see it, the Teeny Boppers were there.
Yeah.
And we went on a Tuesday night, cheap, $5 theater. The Teeny Boppers were still there. So that's who they're trying to sell this to. And they did a good job. I am one to shit on Blumhouse. I think he did a good job marketing this. I think he went to the premiere dressed in the M3gan outfit.
It just shows how much he's committed to it.
Yeah. And James Wan was a producer on this, also from the writer of *Malignant*, which I know you hate.
Yes.
But I think she did a pretty good job here.
It's better than *Malignant*. The writing alone is better than *Malignant*.
Fair enough. I don't know about the direction, though. Just going to say
the
that.
direction's...
I would say *Malignant's* a lot better directed.
It was more
than this
stylistic
movie.
and atmospheric. M3gan felt more flat.
Yeah, definitely. More standard. It's more of a movie trying to tell a story. And I do think, for what it's worth, the story is really good here. And I think that what it needed was just to amp up the kills a little bit more, but that it's PG-13.
Yes,
so
there isn't a large body count. It feels like at certain points it was R and they shaved it back for a PG-13 rating.
I agree. I think it feels very much watered down. Like the dog gets killed off screen. Even the neighbor, which that could have been a really good death scene if they lingered on it. Basically, they have this annoying neighbor with a dog, and at one point M3gan kills the dog and then kind of sprays, was it like pesticide or
something like that, yeah. She hits the owner with a nail gun, so she's stuck on the floor and then just keeps hosing her. And
I thought, if this was the 1980s, you would have lingered on that and cut back and forth and her face deteriorating more and more.
And shit, yeah.
They would have hit a home run with that, like a Tom Savini would have hit a home run with that.
That would be probably the most memorable kill in the movie.
Yes, and unfortunately, I think this movie does lack the most memorable. I couldn't even tell you what the most memorable kill was for me.
No, there really isn't a memorable kill. It's really just her dancing in the hallway.
Yeah.
That leads up to 2 kills, but still.
Yeah, and I don't know, I like this movie. I think it's passable, and I'm happy that a horror movie in January defied the bad kind of expectations that come along with dump month movies.
Because it's so rare.
Yes, it is rare, but I think it was solid. I just think it could have been better if it had taken the gloves off a little bit, but at the same time, I do think it's, a serviceable enough movie and a movie that I'd kind of recommend for sure.
Yeah.
Would you now? I personally like the Child's Play remake a little bit better than this because it is a movie that takes the same concept initially, right? Because we have a boy and a boy doll. This movie, it's a girl and a girl doll. Artificial intelligence going bad. There's similarities. I think the third act and finale of the Child's Play remake was a lot better than this movie that just kind of takes place in the house, where I really wanted this whole display. I thought they were setting up for
we both thought
a bloodbath.
Yeah, because there's a scene after the 2 kills we talk about. It's supposed to be her launch party, and there's a bunch of people there, and we're both thinking, okay, she's gonna go crazy. No, she just walks out.
Yeah, it's very and I think she has a blade in hand or a paper cutter in hand.
She used a paper cutter to kill those 2 people. I don't remember if she still had it when she left.
Yeah,
I mean, if she was walking there with it, through the crowd of people, that would have been great. Just cutting people out of her way.
Oh, that would have been great. Because he's so tiny, to kind of just take people. I think that would. I don't know. And you're right. Maybe they did shave this down to sell it. It's okay if you're going to make a lot of money because now you can make this a franchise. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the sequel would be R-rated.
Or a director's cut.
Yeah,
it's R-rated.
There's
an F-bomb in it. There is an F-bomb in it. But
every PG-13 movie gets one. They get one.
You get one.
Everybody gets, just like Spider-Man, everybody gets one. But I don't know. I thought this was a pretty solid movie overall. I don't know if it's one I would buy on Blu-ray, but it's one I would watch again. I thought it was good enough. And do you think, I guess my biggest question would be to people that like this, do you think the heart it had worked for you? The heart that the movie's going for?
I felt no connection between the aunt and daughter. It's all about the daughter and M3gan.
Yes. Do you think they capitalized on that well, though?
Between the relationship of her and the doll, absolutely.
I think so, too. I think that was... And because, the aunt is antisocial. She just knows toys and programming, and she doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have a boyfriend, even though she looks like Allison Williams. She kind of a loner in that respect, and I think it's kind of a slight commentary on people like that who are antisocial. But I don't know. I like this movie. I think it's fun. It's one that it's sold to the teeny boppers. I will say this: if you do a sequel, which they're gonna, I would go more over the top with it. I would personally make it R, but if they don't, I would smash it. Like just
go bigger than they did with Child's Play, where it's the toy store. Make it like a toy fair, and she hacks into all the toys, and they're like running around. And
yeah, and you can even do like Megan's dancing all at once, like just how they were at the halftime, like numerous,
just a bunch of Megan dolls,
and like maybe slaughtering people out in the public. I don't know. I definitely think you could get a trilogy out of this, and that's probably going to be the goal for Blumhouse.
At least one more they're getting, so
it makes sense. Yeah,
I thought the satire was good.
And how so?
Like the marketing, like how it opens with a toy commercial, and they're basically just Furbies.
Yeah.
And then when Megan is launched, and like they do a whole demo where they're showing how good the Megan doll is, and it's just her and the girl interacting with each other, and they have like a private room where all the investors are seeing it. And then the CEO is like, see, even kids whose parents aren't dead will love Megan. And that's the fucking commercial.
Yeah, which is really a messed up line, but I thought it was pretty funny and earned. So I don't know. I thought this movie overall pretty solid. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably go 6 out of 10 for myself. I'd say a little bit above average. What would you give it?
6.5. I'm still at 6.5.
6.5. I think that's fair. I think both of those are fair. I just maybe a little bit more blood. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like 10 more minutes to get a little more violence out of that. But
because I mean the end, like the final battle in the garage felt rushed for whatever budget they had.
It did, and I didn't like they went back to the robot with
that was the ants
like prototype.
Project.
Yeah. And I thought that was weak. Like I didn't feel any. Maybe if we got an introduction to that, like more so
there
than we
wasn't,
did.
because I mean you have one scene with the robots like, oh, this is my college project, you put these gauntlets on, you can control them. And then when Megan's chasing them in the garage, it falls over. I'm like, oh, she's not going to hack that. I guess we're not doing anything with that. And then the little girl comes in and says, this is Bruce, by the way. And starts like throwing Megan
full
around.
A-Team, like, dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it just crashes down. All they were missing with the A-Team music was just like the triumphant, like, hell no, we're kicking your ass. Like Dawn of the Dead, the ending of Dawn of the Dead when Kev Forey's cleaning house of the zombies in the Monroeville Mall. I don't know. I like this, though. I think it was solid enough and a movie that I definitely would recommend for the public. So if you guys haven't seen it, granted, I think everyone has at this point. We're definitely late to the party reviewing this one. We saw it a week or so ago, and he was like, hey, do you want to do a review? And I was like, yeah, let's do this right and professional. So I hope you guys liked the look of this. This is a lot of fun for us to do. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add, we can wrap this.
No, that was pretty much it.
Pretty much it. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and you can catch us next time only on The Graveyard. Too Sweet Peace, and we'll catch you next time.